Here is a chart of MONERO XMR. Just to save time, I'm not going to do the full count, but let's say 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was a tippy top for MONERO, I believe, on its probably equivalent to wave 3 of a higher scale, just like Bitcoin. If with every 5 waves, what is required? A 3-wave retracement. I believe this can also be a zigzag. So we have A, B, C, W. So here's one zigzag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. Okay, so what is a WXY? WXY in this case is a double zigzag. A zigzag is why? What? It has an ABC, 3 waves, but the A of zigzag is 5 subwaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and here the 4 overlaps with 1. Doesn't that break? No, not if it's a diagonal. Okay, B is 3 waves. C is 5 subwave component. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which makes W. W is then separated by an X. And then here's a second zigzag, A, B, C. And that makes what? Y. The fact it separates out so clearly and nicely as a WXY gives credence to that bait that the bottom is in, potentially. And at the same time, remember that fake out here that we all saw while Bitcoin was crashing? It faked everybody out. But if a resistance line, trend line had been drawn, and I think this trend line has significance because of the way it faked everybody out and bounced off and crashed to complete the Y. So let's think forward if we can, possibly. I think it would be of significance to kind of, if this is the bottom, and if we are beginning, let's say, wave 1, 2 of an impulse, and wave 3 is here. We'll discuss early, a little later how exactly where we can surmise wave 2 bottom might be if this is wave 1 and 2. And the significance of this is given by the fact how it's bounced back 3 attempts to break it. When it goes here, what do you think will happen? Go straight to 3? I don't think so. So draw your trend lines draw your trend lines, and it'll give you points of potential resistance. And it'll give you the additional information needed that you can combine with your Elliott waves and forward-looking thought process, thought experiments, to see what kind of a pathway it might take. If there was no bounce off this resistance, I'd be surprised. I'd be pretty surprised. But let's draw some type of a fan line in order to give it. So here's another line. It'll probably bounce off this too, temporarily, because of the fact that wave 1 stopped here. Another mistake that people always try to do, they like to draw slanted chart line, trend lines and support lines, all on slant, angled. Okay, I like to draw horizontal support lines and resistance lines. So here was a support that it just broke through and came back. It's still within it. It might be buried somewhere amongst here, wave 2, or it could be buried somewhere amongst here. And the trader in me wants to see, maybe I could build a ladder to that zone. Don't forget to draw horizontal support. Here's where wave 1 stopped. Look at this horizontal resistance. That was pretty good resistance right here from all of this price work. So I'm not surprised. It tried to go and it got bounced off. But what was resistance here before is now support. So I think it'll go to bounce around like a ping pong ball a little bit. Most likely bounce off this trend line on its way to 3. And that 3 surge will happen after it breaches all the resistance lines, like so. A lot of the Elliott wave technicians I see like to draw angled. The other thing I notice about Gann angles is it's got only angles. And I'm not an expert in Gann angles. And W.D. Gann was absolutely a genius, obviously. But here's the thing, the tools that the genius used, when those tools are in the hands of the non-geniuses, you get very different outcomes. Anyways, Gann had no angles and had only angles, and I like to look at horizontals, like so. And the book that I recommended, Stock Trends book on the chart patterns, has stress points on both angled trend lines and horizontal trend lines. Just like here. James Brown, had sent me this chart saying how he thought, and I say this with all due respect, he's a great analyst himself, technician, thought these support lines will allow a new all-time high. But he did not have these black horizontal lines. And this is what I sent back. I took his chart. Everything he's marking except the black lines, the red letters, and the black letters in the circle. I drew these horizontal lines. And for these reasons, it'll bounce off the first to a B and see if it breaks the first. Watch out, it's going to hit the second. And that's pretty much what it did. And if it breaks the second, watch out, it'll go to 2,000 potentially. Let's see if that happens. So this is your analysis for Monero. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, please post in the comments. And as always, I wish you all massive profits.